Hello, friends and neighbors, and welcome to the Pawcast, the officially unofficial English language podcast of Pacific League TV. Jimbo Bernicki is once again under the weather. Get well soon, Jimbo. So I, Gabe Lerman, am stepping in as your primary host. Joining me in the virtual booth for today's episode are Matt Seivert.
How's it going?
And Michael Bealey.
Doing well over here.
We've got a lot of show for you, especially since the all-star rosters have been announced. -1 exclusive spooky +1. We'll reveal who got in with which team in the Around the Horn segment instead of all in one go at the start. So, Matt, lead us off with our top of the line stories.
All right. Well, of course, it wouldn't be the middle of July without some trades to announce, and we have one more. In case you didn't catch it, the Saitama Seibu Lions acquired infielder Daiju Nomura from the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, sending left-handed pitcher Hiromasa Saito back. Saito hadn't pitched with the top club since 2020, and he was added as a developmental player in the Hawks' incredibly well-off organization. Nomura, for his own part, had small stints with the Hawks since 2019. 2023 was his busiest. He got into 41 games and hit his first career home run. Given how the Lions are right now, we'll get to that in a bit. The 23-year-old infielder is expected to play a big role in their future. Some interesting stats from Daisuke Tatsu on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, either way, from July 2nd. The average fastball velocity in NPB has risen from 87.2 miles per hour in 2012 to 91.3 miles per hour as of April 16th this season. Yes, it's still a far cry from 95 plus a wicked slider standard in MLB, but it's an interesting trend nonetheless.
And I have to wonder how much of that is being driven by Hiroki Sasaki and his ilk, that generation of fireballers coming up through the organizations. I mean, yes, there's still the soft throwers like Takayuki Kato, the aging Tsuyoshi Wada, Masanori Ishikawa in the other league, but it's still interesting to see that the velocity curve is changing and it's continued to go up and up and up for the last decade.
Definitely true. Keeping in mind also that I would love to see the respective walk rates if they've spiked because of the higher fastball velo. That's definitely what happened
That's
in
an
MLB.
interesting research project. Yeah.
And finally, a bit of scuttlebutt that was reported by Spolnichi Annex. Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers, former MVP, was interviewed on July 5th before playing at Dodger Stadium. And wouldn't you guess? Turns out his maternal grandfather is Japanese. So, of course, he's interested in playing for Samurai Japan in the next World Baseball Classic, if the rules permit him to. I mean, Nude Bar made sense as, like, a Nisei with a Japanese mother, but second generation? Really? Besides, I'm not even sure he's better than the domestic options available. But
I mean,
we'll see what comes of
2018,
it.
2019 Yelich would have been a shoe-in, but the current model, I don't think so. And it's going to be hard for the Japanese players to come up with a cutesy nickname like Tatchan was for Lars Taylor Tatsuji Nootbaar. Give respect on all four of his names.
There you go. Well, of course, Yelich this year has done a little bit better, but not nearly to the peaks of his prime where he was fighting for MVP awards. And that wraps it up for our top stories today.
We're going to take a short break before we get into our Around the Horn segment. Time for another advert for the subscription service you probably should already know about. Take a listen.
He just destroy... I don't like how that sounds.
Yo. Hey, Mike. What are you working on?
Oh, hey, I'm just practicing my home run call since, I don't have one.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you guys take a water break and it's just me, and I figured I gotta have a home run call.
Well, I'll have you know I've never taken a break in my life, actually.
No, you make a good point. I'll just listen in.
Alright, how about this? That ball is... no. Philadelphia has that one on lock.
Can't use put it on the board. Harrelson would sue.
See you later? No, they have that one too.
Yeah, and that's too basic.
Big fly. No.
Does Joe Buck even have one?
That ball has been sent to the Shadow Realm?
You really want Konami on our case?
Yeah, but I kind of like it, though.
Alright, how about this? Mighty, sugoi hamanandes. What about that one?
Please don't debase yourself by becoming an anime sidekick.
Is that a no? Guys? Where'd you go? Guys? Are you guys gonna come back? Well, I still don't have a home run goal, but Pacific League TV doesn't have any ads or blackouts when you subscribe. Stream all 6 Pacific League teams on the app or on the website. Alright, but how about destroyed? Like, like des, the Japanese word des, and then destroyed, like destroyed? You guys still aren't coming back? Okay.
Welcome back, folks. It's time for Around the Horn, where we go top to bottom in terms of the league standings and give you a little bit more insight on how every team has been doing. Starting off with, say it with me now, the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. Matt, fill in for Jimbo. What do you got for us?
All right. Well, I mean, the Hawks have finally hit what you might term a slump. They are only 1-5 in the last week. It's their first big road bump this season. Their record is still sitting at a .667 win percentage at 50-25, so it goes to show you how well they were the rest of the season. Closer Roberto Osuna has been removed from the active roster due to poor lower body condition. The air quotes don't help me understand what that means. Hopefully he can come back to his full self soon. But even with his struggles thus far this year, their recent record shows they really could use the bullpen help. And remember, Osuna leads the league in saves, so as long as he's like halfway functioning, it's probably better. Although, let's talk about that offense another time. Speaking of offense, the left-handed sniper Akira Nakamura picked up his 200th career double over this week.
Nakamura is such a big part of the Hawks dynasty of the 2010s. It's a shame that he's been relegated to a defensive substitution with Hotaka Yamakawa coming into the club. But, I mean, 200 career doubles, a bevy of golden gloves, and more rings than one hand can hold. Still a pretty solid resume for Nakamura.
Definitely. But, as you mentioned, because Hotaka Yamakawa is in place, he's not exactly getting as much playing time as he used to. Speaking of Yamakawa, we'll lead off the list of Hawks All-Stars with the first baseman. Also joining him on the squad, third baseman Ryoria Kurihara, left fielder Kensuke Kondo, speedster Ukyo Shuto, and pitchers Kohei Arihara, Ryosuke Otsu, and Yuki Matsumoto.
You sound so good when you say the names. It makes me sound like a real gaijin, you know?
Well, I lived there for 5 years. I earned something.
Yeah, no kidding. Sitting second in the Pacific League right now and gaining, hello, Mike, what do you got for the Chiba Lotte Marines?
So 5-1 in the last week. Only 8 games back at SoftBank, so looking forward to see if they can close that gap even further. And then we got some all-stars for the Marines. I believe it's 5 of them total. Catcher Toshiya Sato, outfielder Hiromi Oka, designated hitter Gregory Polanco, pitchers CC Mercedes and Shota Suzuki. And I kind of would have liked to have seen Neftali Soto in there because he's just been really good. Honestly, I mean, last I looked at like all the advanced stats and the league leaders and everything, I believe Soto was above Polanco in a lot of different categories offensively. I mean, yeah, I think all 5 of them are deserving, especially Oka. He's just been really good this year, playing out of his mind, and it's like every game there's some sort of Oka highlight, whether it's defensively or a clutch hit or something like that. So I'm happy with all of them. And congrats to reliever Atsuya Hirohara for picking up the save in today's game against Rakuten. It's the first in his career. Hirohara threw 3 innings in relief of Aimu Ishikawa, allowing 3 earned runs but striking out 6. So once again, glad to see Ishikawa back. It's been a while since we've seen him. Really good pitcher for the Marines in the 2010s, and then as the end of the 2010s, just kind of been dealing with injuries going into the 2020s. And then on a fun note, as we've said before, the Marines have one of the best fan bases in Japan, and they just hit over 1 million people in season attendance with today's game. So that's really nice to see. And it's a shame that Jimbo's not here because the Marines are currently 11-0 against Seibu this season, which is quite funny.
Going back to the Marines thing, they actually did that in 38 home games, which is all different kinds of ridiculous. They are packing the park at Zozo Marine Stadium. That is an average of 26,000 people in what is ostensibly a 30,000 seat arena.
When you say 38 home games, does that even count the games where they're like doing the on the road things, the
Oh, the
true road
countryside
games.
games. Oh, I think it might. Hmm.
But those don't have the capacity of Zozo Marine, to be fair. So it's still really impressive.
And then just one more quick note on the game today. They did beat Rockton 18-5, and I always find scores like that to be quite funny when they put up, a ridiculous number like that without hitting any home runs. Yeah, so 18-5, all on just regular hits, no home runs. Neftali Soto went 4 for 3 with a walk and 4 RBI. Tatsuhiro Tamura had 6 RBI. Just an absurd game all around, and yeah, nice. I didn't watch it live, but I did wake up and then see the notification on my phone and went kind of, huh, while half asleep.
Well, once you see a crooked number like that, literally the guy had more runs batted in than he had at bats in the game. That is amazing.
I call it
Yeah.
a comedy score in baseball when the winning team scores double-digit runs and the margin of victory is 5 runs or more. This is the second one the Eagles have given up this season. Let's not forget they got clowned on 21-0 by the Hawks earlier, too.
Oof, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
I did
most people
remember
have
that one.
repressed it.
Well, especially Eagles fans.
Moving up into third place for this week, the Oryx Buffaloes, your 3-time defending pennant winners. They've won 4 in a row since our last broadcast, so they're back up to 500 and into third place. I think they're only a half game up on the Fighters, so that postseason chase is still rather tight. It's good to see Yuma Tongu finding his swing again. He hit the sayonara sac fly in today's win over the Hawks to move the Buffaloes back up to 500. Ditto for that is Yutaro Sugimoto, who has 4 home runs and a .361 slugging percentage after finally starting to heat up from his injury. Those two, Tongu and Sugimoto, are tied for second on the team for season home runs at 4. Leandro Cedeno has been out of action for weeks, and he still has the team lead at 8. I'm not saying the baseballs have been deadened, but I'm not saying that.
Well,
Also,
and
Kyocera Dome is a tough ballpark to hit home runs in to begin with.
I was going to say that it's a reflection of how poorly Tomoya Mori has swung the bat this year compared to his expected standard. And their big free agent pickup, Ryoma Nishikawa, basically dead weight for most of the season. It's starting to perk up, which is good.
Indeed. Buffaloes are only sending 2 players to the All-Star game this season, shortstop Kotaro Kurebayashi and pitcher Anderson Espinoza. A little bit of foreign representation out of the Buffaloes rotation. Next up, it's me again. The 4th place Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. 2-2 in the last week, only a half a game back of the Buffaloes. And to be filed under A for about dang time. First baseman Kotaro Kiyomiya has his first home run of the season, an extra inning 2-run job at Balluna Dome back on July 9th. So good to see him back in the lineup, starting to slug. Maybe that means Ariel Martinez can start to get the occasional game at DH, maybe even behind the plate to give Tamiya a break. And yeah, we already ran through most of the names that for the All-Stars. They were announced in the fan voting because all of Hokkaido stuffed the ballot box. Sachiya Yamasaki, Ryusei Kawano, Seiji Tanaka, Yua Tamiya, Ariel Martinez, Daigo Kamikawabara, Tatsuki Mizuno, Yuya Gunji, and Chusei Manami. Yeah, it is
It's
a
a
home
home
game.
game for them. So, of course, they're stuffing the ballot box. I love it.
This is true. Handing the mic over to Mike, it's the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles in a very uncomfortable 5th place.
Yeah, so 3-2 in the last week, making an attempt at gaining on third place. Got some all-stars for you. All-star center fielder Ryosuke Tatsumi and pitchers Takahiro Norimoto and Masahiro Fuji are going to the all-star game, so 3 for Rakuten. And as we said earlier, they did have a comedy score, as Gabe put it. They had young starting pitcher Tomotaka Matsui on the mound. He allowed 8 hits and a walk without getting a single out and allowed 7 runs in the bottom of the first, which, some at that point, allowing all those runs early in the game, it's just going to let the ball keep rolling for the other team, and you end up like a score like what we had earlier. But in regards to the Eagles and their push for third place getting into A class, it does feel like once again this year that third place is just like really up for grabs for anybody this year. Like once again, because everybody reaching for that third place spot is really just in a few games of one another. So it should be
Except for the
interesting going down the
Hawks and
stretch again.
Lions. There's no way either of them are ending in third place.
Well, I said everybody, reaching for third place. If SoftBank ended up in third place, I'd probably wonder what timeline I ended up in.
What year is it?
I took a wrong turn, so to speak.
Wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Oh no.
That's not all that far from me, as funny as that seems. Anyway.
Speaking of wrong turns, the Saitama Seibu Lions digging hole at the bottom of the standings. Matt, I'm sorry.
One of these days, I'm going to fill in for somebody else, and it's going to be great because I don't have to talk about the NPB equivalent of my hometown Rockies. But here we are. Only 1-5 in the last week. That is not great. It is already the 5th time they've had a losing streak of 5 games or more this season. They were the first team to lose 50 games in this season as well. By the way, it's the quickest they've ever reached the 50 loss mark in only like 70 something, 75, 76 games. It's bad. But aside from that, there is some good news. Particularly, Lions second baseman Shuta Tonosaki had just played in his 1,000th NPB game today. He debuted in July 2015 in the game against the Oryx Buffaloes, and he's been on Seibu's top club basically ever since. 3 All-Star nods, 2 Golden Gloves, which probably will be more soon enough, and a career slash line of 250, 327, 396. He's even closing in on triple-digit home runs. So definitely a solid career, and one of the best parts of the Lions as currently constituted. Other infielders to consider, well, Daiju Nomura. He picked up his first hit as a Lion earlier today after being traded there, as we mentioned earlier. I mean, he was so excited, he probably would have had it yesterday, but he literally did not step on first base trying to stretch to a double. Whoops. I think that's a pretty good metaphor for how their season's gone.
If you take a look at the highlight clip of Nomura's proper hit earlier today, he makes an emphatic stomp on first base just to hammer the point home that he's learned his lesson.
Love that. Love that. And speaking of high notes, well, you should know most of the names of the Seibu Lions rotation if you have any interest in most of the people coming to NPB in the next, 3 to 5 years. They're great this year. One of the best stories of that rotation, though, Natsuki Takeuchi is the first Lions rookie to win 5 consecutive decisions from his debut in 31 years. As Gabe starting to try and popularize the nickname Nasty Natsuki, yeah, he's that good. Finally, the All-Stars for the Lions, and you can tell that they have some great fan appeal because all of the names are completely expected, even though their season has not been wonderful. That's second baseman Shuta Tomosaki, his keystone partner Sosuke Genda, designated hitter Takeya Nakamura, still shy of 500 home runs, but we'll see if he gets it this year. And finally, pitcher Tatsuya Imai.
Yes, Genda, the human highlight reel. You have to put him in the All-Star game. He's a WBC champion.
I mean, there are All-Star games for playing defense, but his defense plays anywhere. It's that good.
His defense plays even with a busted finger like he did in the WBC. Anyways, we'll get to games going on in North America in just a moment. One more advertisement coming your way.
Hey, you should be betting on sports! Like right now, open your phone, download an app, and start blowing money on silly wagers. We'll even give you a head start with some quote-unquote free money! Come on, what are you afraid of? Are you a whiny little baby with a dirty diaper? Everyone bets on games now. Your friends' friends, your mom! That's right, your mom bets on sports. How do we know?
Actually, there's no betting on sports in Japan, which means all broadcasts on Pacific League TV are free from the scourge of sportsbook commercials. So you can enjoy baseball without being taunted by the broadcast. Visit PacificLeague.com for more details, or WatchDingo.com for free live games without commentary within North America. Our second to last segment in this week's podcast is Familiar Faces in New Places. Credit to TJ Stats on Twitter for this report. Former SoftBank Hawk pitcher Kodai Senga made his first rehab appearance of the season down in AAA. He threw 52 pitches over 2 2/3 innings with 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 hits, no earned runs. The report also said that his velocity was back to usual. Fingers crossed he's back for the Mets soon. Lord knows they could use it. Former fighter pitcher Naoyuki Uwasawa was designated for assignment yesterday by the Boston Red Sox. He's got 10 days now to either accept an assignment back to AAA, be released, or get traded. That's a poor guy. He's only had 2 MLB appearances. Hopefully he can sign on with a third MLB organization and provide value to them. Let's not forget, he was posted to the Tampa Bay Rays earlier.
I was about to say, please let the third organization be another team in the AL East. Please.
Hey, only 3 more before he fills out his punch card and gets a free smoothie.
If that's what the reward is, yes.
The Steve Pierce special, yes. Speaking of players being prepped for release, this is sad. Former Cebu Lion and should have been Golden Glover at first base, I point out, David McKinnon was placed on waivers by the Samsung Lions of the KBO. He's tweeted he had a great time and he put up a 767 OPS, but he will be looking for work. Given that most of the NPB clubs are looking for new foreign signings around July, wouldn't be surprising to see him back in Japan.
Well, and it makes you wonder why he was designated when he was doing a 767 OPS in the KBO. I mean, the KBO's level is not quite NPB's. So, but I still maintain hope that he can get to his 3rd consecutive Lions team because Detroit will come calling. Oh, wait, that's the wrong sport.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, maybe he owns pads, but I don't know. Can he kick?
Well, he's a pretty big guy compared to who he's been playing with the last couple of years.
Okay, that is true. Rounding out today's episode, our question of the day to you, the viewers, and to us, the hosts. When the Pacific League announced their All-Star Game roster, they left 1 spot blank. And in katakana, they said it was the Purasuwan, a +1, a mystery 26th man. Who could that be? Any guesses? Matt, you first.
I looked at the rotation, and there's a decided lack of the league ERA leader who has successfully converted to a starter role after being a longtime reliever this year. Similar path to Kaima Taira of the Lions last year. I am amazed that Levon Moinello is not already an all-star.
Oh, that's a good call. Absolutely a snub so far. Mike, I think you hinted at yours. Are you sticking with Neftali Soto?
I don't think they would do that. Sasaki didn't get selected to the official rotation, did he? Or is this just position players?
Hiroki Sasaki is injured, my dude.
I would not put it past him just to do that. Japan's very
Well,
predictable. I'm just saying.
It's the Mike Trout all-star. It's starting all-star selection, right? You know, he's that good, so they voted him as a starter because people want to see him in the game, and then he just wasn't able to play. I could see that. I could because
I'm sorry, I've
Hiroki
come down with a
Sasaki
case of Darius Kasperitis. I cannot play. All right,
But,
my pick, given that the Buffaloes only had 2 guys named to the All-Star vote, I'm going to go with a Buffalo. I'm going to go with a pitcher, Andres Machado, their closer. Double-digit saves right behind Roberto Osuna and Takahiro Norimoto. By the way, good on Takahiro Norimoto for getting a nod, converting from starter to closer. Good on him. But yeah, Machado's my call.
That's also a good call. I mean, he has supplanted Yoshihisa Hirano, who's still sitting on 249 career NPB saves. I don't even think he's appeared in the game in over a month now. Do they think he's finally turned into the pumpkin and they're just going to stop trying for him to get 250? This is surreal.
Wait until they've clinched a postseason spot. Then they might start throwing Hirano again.
That's fair. That's fair because then it doesn't affect their standing.
We want the round numbers. Give us the round numbers.
Send him out.
Anyways, that'll put a cap around this week's episode. We'll be back next week with even more inane banter and possibly all 4 of us on at once. It's like the blue moon. It hasn't happened yet. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTubey stuff, and take care of each other.